Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by EnergySage. Visit the link in the description to find local verified solar installers and community solar projects in your area that will help you power your home and your car with clean, green, renewable energy. And by you. Support the show with a monthly donation through Patreon or YouTube and make one-time donations with Ko-fi, Bitcoin or our swag store. Welcome back to TEN or Transport Evolved News. I know this week has been tough for many of you. It has for me, so hopefully this show can bring some much needed balance to the force. We are starting today with news from Aptera, which revealed details of its launch edition model on Friday this week, causing some concern among reservation holders in the process. While the online presentation didn't feature a finished production intent vehicle, only 3D models and testing videos, the company gave details of what it said would be its launch edition vehicle, a single configuration all-wheel drive solar electric vehicle with a 42 kilowatt-hour battery pack, giving a claimed 400 miles, 643 kilometers per charge. However, there were some worrying facts from the presentation. One, Aptera will be using the North American charging standard, aka Tesla charger inlet, but said rapid charging will not be available at launch. It also admitted that it will build 5,000 launch edition models, but needs an additional $50 million to actually reach production. As we reported in last week's show, Tesla surprised everyone last week by making some pretty significant price cuts to its range of electric cars. The reasons for those price cuts were, according to Tesla, price normalization of cost inflation, although some pundits have claimed it was due to falling demand or reluctance on the part of buyers to buy before the US federal tax credit for EVs had been ironed out. Regardless of this reason, though, Electrek reported this week that demand for new Teslas soared after the announcement. Quoting anonymous sources, the news site says that many Tesla stores in North America set new records for sales with quote-unquote unprecedented demand for new cars. The price cuts have already percolated to the used Tesla market, and for those willing to do the legwork, bargains are there to be had. A year after it debuted, an all-electric camper van based on the Ford Transit RV specialist Winnebago has debuted a second all-electric motorhome called the e-RV Squared. Unlike last year's model, which was built on a bespoke conversion of the combustion engine Transit, this year's concept is built on Ford's all-electric e-Transit, meaning the e-RV Squared gets approximately 108 miles, 174 kilometers of range per charge. This is something that Winnebago notes is the reason this particular variant isn't designed for series production. When a longer-range e-Transit is available, though, it appears Winnebago is keen to build one. The updated concept features a 48-volt, 15-kilowatt-hour auxiliary pack and 900-watt photovoltaic system for off-grid camping. The e-RV Squared will, however, soon head out on a public feedback tour around the US. Around the world, there's a definite shift away from globalization towards more national interests as governments and companies seek to become more self-reliant. In the automotive industry, we're seeing that too, with some countries like the US enacting policies that reward companies for sourcing materials and components nationally rather than internationally. And this week, Ontario Tech University, working with Canada's Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association and students from the Carleton University School of Industrial Design, unveiled a concept car under the name Project Arrow EV that proves Canada can do the same. It's an all-electric car with 97% of its components made in Canada, including its 82.5 kilowatt-hour battery pack and twin electric motors. There are currently no plans to bring this concept car to production. StoreDot, a solid-state battery specialist that's been working on extreme fast-charging battery packs for many years, has been pretty busy of late. Not only did it just open up its first US facility, a testing centre in California, but it also confirmed this week that a total of 15 global automotive brands are now putting production intent validation battery packs through its paces. When StoreDot first promised ultra-rapid charging technology, many in the industry, including us, were sceptical of the claims, but with StoreDot StoreDot XFC cells having successfully completed third-party validation, and with that validation cells now in the hands of automakers in the US, Asia and Europe, it is starting to look as if StoreDot may very well be the key to ultra-rapid charging. The company says it will begin mass production of XFC cells for Series EV production next year. It's fairly well known that, like gas cars, electric vehicles tend to have a reduced range in winter due to a whole range of different things, and we've made several videos on this channel on the topic before. One way automakers can help ensure range loss in winter is kept to a minimum is to use heat pumps rather than resistive heaters in their cars, since heat pumps use about 1/3 of the energy of a resistive heater, saving more stored battery energy for the purpose of driving. This week, however, we learned that the Volkswagen Group has quietly stopped putting heat pumps in some MEB platform vehicles, including the ID.4 and Audi Q4 e-tron, installing resistive heating systems instead. The automaker is blaming quote-unquote global supply bottlenecks, which insiders suggest is actually a semiconductor shortage. Customers in Canada, where the change was first noted, are being given the choice to wait or buy their car without a heat pump. As the average price of new cars continues to rise and automakers start to realise that leasing electric cars to customers means they can more easily recycle and reuse components, we're seeing a real push in the EV world towards leasing rather than buying. Some companies like Tesla and Ford no longer allow you to buy out your lease, and this week we learned that Sony Honda Mobility wants you to lease rather than buy its recently unveiled Afeela EV. Admitting that the car is going to be pretty expensive thanks to all that fancy onboard tech, the CEO and chairman of Sony Honda Mobility told reporters recently that the company wants customers to lease its vehicles for 10 years or more, utilising over-the-air software updates to keep customers' cars up to date. While leasing may be appealing to companies though, many consumers prefer to buy outright. Three-wheeled specialist Arcimoto, based not so far away from this studio in Oregon, USA, may have broken the mold with its Arcimoto FUV and Roadster, but now it appears to be fighting for its very survival. The company, which removed the company's former CEO and founder Mark Frohnmayer after he was arrested for DUI in August last year, has just idled its production facility, issuing a regulatory filing with the SEC that said it requires quote-unquote substantial additional funding to resume production, warning investors that it may be required to cease operations completely and or seek bankruptcy protection. The company's value has plunged to less than $7 million, with stock trading for a few bucks each. Honestly, things don't look very good for it right now. Tesla's share price experienced an upward trend this week, driven in part by Tesla's reported rise in customer orders and lower vehicle sticker prices. Despite that, though, Tesla, or rather Elon Musk, is very much still in the firing line, with an ongoing trial over Elon Musk's now infamous going private at 420 funding secured tweet coming to the end of its first week. Elon Musk is due to testify next. At the same time, there's a story doing the rounds about the staging of a 2016 demonstration of Model X autonomously driving, something the car wasn't capable of without prior preparation at the time, and harsh criticism from Ross Gerber of Gerber Kawasaki EFT. Talking at the company's shareholder meeting, Gerber said that Musk, quote-unquote, broke the stock when he sold a large volume of Tesla stock to buy Twitter. He is calling for Tesla to rein in Musk's behaviour. We've seen a troubling trend in the EV world in the last few years when it comes to rapid charging networks, namely companies installing infrastructure and then not really caring if it works long term. So far, legislators have kept quiet about this, despite plenty of consternation from EV owners. This week, though, we got the first sign that could change, with California's Energy Commission stating in a reply to a letter from State Assemblyman Phil Ting that it believed reliability reporting for EV charging stations needed to use not just data from operators but customers too. It says it intends to use a public process to develop an open protocol for field testing and reporting for charging stations. It is early days, but this is actually pretty big news, which is why we are reporting on it here. We're definitely going to be keeping our eyes on this one. Short shorts are coming in a second, but first, a little word about one of today's video sponsors, EnergySage. EnergySage is an online service in the US that helps homeowners connect with local verified solar installers who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing photovoltaic solar panels on the roof of your home. And they can help you join a community solar program as well. We used EnergySage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and our EnergySage verified installers were professional, knowledgeable, and even put us in touch with an amazing credit union to help us finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. I know that we've just fairly recently entered winter in the Northern Hemisphere, but thanks to the recently signed Inflation Reduction Act in the US, tax credits for solar panels remain a healthy 30% for the next decade. So there's never a better time to plan. And with the days just getting longer, just think of all of that solar power you'll be able to harvest this summer. Follow the link in the description below to sign up for EnergySage's free, no obligation service today. And if you do choose to use an EnergySage installer for your own solar project, we will get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping the channel too. And now, it's time for Short Shorts. A viral video this week popped up online showing two women trying to fill up a Tesla Model 3 at a gas station. The video, which sadly we don't have permission to use here, feels like a setup, but I'm not entirely sure. Do people still really not get the idea that cars can be fully electric? Vinfast has said this week that it intends to bring some new incentives and promotions into effect to enable it to remain competitive against Tesla's recently reduced prices. While the automaker hasn't said what those promotions are going to be, it has a way to slash prices to accomplish that. A new study by Axios, What's Next, shows that the city of Richmond, Virginia, is suffering from major charging station inequality, with majority white tracts 2.69 times more likely to have charging infrastructure than majority non-white tracts. Volkswagen may have a roadmap to turn its ID Buzz into an electric camper variant in the long term, at least that's for its long-wheel base variant, but a German company has beaten Volkswagen to the punch, producing the Alpine Camper ID Buzz. Chinese companies NIO and CATL have signed a new 5-year agreement to further their already existing collaboration on electric vehicles. The two companies' agreement will see CATL increase the battery production it sends NIO's way, increasing the EV production volume in consequence. Candela and Polestar have already produced the very first C8 hydrofoil to be built with Polestar battery packs. Candela and Polestar entered into a joint supply agreement last year, and you can now buy an electric hydrofoil with the same battery as a Polestar EV. Audi has won a court case in Germany against NIO over naming convention used by NIO for its electric cars. Audi initially sued NIO in 2021, alleging that the ES6 and ES8 sounded too similar to Audi's S6 and S8. But the name e-tron doesn't sound similar to anything else, Audi? According to a new report from Automotive News, General Motors is already well underway designing a small electric pickup at its design studio in Warren, Michigan. Executives at the company hint it might, maybe, come to market after the Silverado EV. Sales data from 2022 shows that while new car registrations in Spain fell several percent compared to the previous year, EV sales continued to expand. The data shows that 10% of all new cars sold in Spain last year came with a plug. Polestar has opened what must be a world first, a temporary showroom 6 miles south of the Arctic Circle in Finland. The facility is made entirely from ice, a little like the various ice hotels we see popping up in the Arctic every year. Polestar's really chill about it. Fossil fuel giant Shell has officially acquired yet another electric car charging provider, this time US-based Volta. Volta is different to most charging networks in so much as it uses money from advertising displayed at charging stations to offset charging costs. Tesla has increased the price of its home charging station by 20% in the US, meaning the wall-mounted charging station now costs $425. That said, it's still a lot cheaper than much of the competition in the home charging market. Electric cars will kill off SUVs. At least that's the opinion of the CEO of French car brand Citroën. Talking to Auto Express this week, the brand boss says fewer SUVs are going to be purchased because of EV mandates. Tell that to sister brand Jeep, which is already making an e-SUV. Tesla has quietly downgraded the brakes it installs on its performance variants of the Tesla Model Y. Gone is the Brembo caliper of old, and in its place, Mando brakes. That said, it is worth remembering EVs do most of their braking using regenerative braking when driven sensibly. Australian electric vehicle specialists SEA have announced a major partnership with mining company Mevco that will see them electrify some 8,500 Toyota Hilux and Land Cruiser models for use in the mining industry. EVs are perfect for underground operations. It is official, the US new car market shrunk considerably in 2022, but just like Spain from earlier in this show, EV sales continued to rise. In total, EV sales went up by 65%, accounting for 5.8% of all new cars sold last year. Sticking with sales, Mercedes-Benz shared its global sales figures for last year this week, showing an overall dip in sales but an increase in electric vehicle sales. EV and electric van sales rose by 124% year-on-year. Harley Davidson's CEO has told DZine in a recent interview he believes the brand's future will be fully electric. To be clear though, we're not talking about Harley Davidson's Livewire brand, which spun off last year. We're actually talking about the entire Harley Davidson lineup. So that's pretty big. Tata has unveiled an all-electric concept based on its Tata Sierra SUV. The concept looks very impressive, but we note that it doesn't appear to have DC quick charging, unless there's a hidden extra charge port we can't see in the official video posted online. BMW has confirmed that it won't follow Mercedes-Benz in offering subscription-based performance packages for customers. BMW already offers subscription services for other functions, but believes unlocking performance options in this way is legally challenging. As part of an effort to continue to raise the capital it needs to bring its Xeon electric car to market, Sono Motors has published a video showcasing how much electricity it captures during winter months from its solar panels. The answer, 1.3% state of charge in a single day. Just released global electric car sales data from last year shows that while Tesla is dominating EV sales, BYD is rapidly closing the gap. Last year, BYD sold 69% of Tesla's global vehicle sales, inching it into second place in front of Volkswagen. German labour union IG Metall is voicing concerns about the working conditions at Tesla's Gigafactory in Berlin. It cites unfair and unfit working conditions, noting that many workers are working longer hours than they should, resulting in poor work-life balances. Volvo has confirmed it will be bringing an all-electric minivan to market in China. The vehicle, which will be sold alongside the Volvo EX90 SUV, will be based on the Zeekr 009, a vehicle that is sold by Volvo's sister electric vehicle startup brand, Zeekr. While Ford has already committed to building 2 new electric vehicles based on Volkswagen's MEB platform, news this week from the Financial Times suggests the partnership on EVs is transitory. Ford is said to be working on its own in-house platform for future European EVs. An attempt by a few legislators in the state of Wyoming to pass a resolution banning the sale of all new EVs by 2035 has failed. The resolution, the metaphorical equivalent of finger-wagging, was little more than a fossil-fueled publicity stunt. British Volt, a battery startup that was meant to bring the lithium-ion battery production industry to the UK, has already filed for bankruptcy. Only in existence for a short while, the company has several interested buyers, including Tata and Glencore, according to news reports. The Government of Ireland has published its first ever National Electric Vehicle Charging Infrastructure Strategy. It's part of a plan to see €100 million invested in public EV charging across Ireland over the next 3 years, with charging stations on major roads every 60 kilometres. Forum Mobility, backed by CBRE Investment Management, has announced a $400 million joint venture and $15 million Series A funding round designed to bring heavy-duty EV charging stations to 2 California shipping ports. Skoda has officially updated its Enyaq lineup for the UK, with the recently revealed Enyaq Coupe IV RS priced from £54,370 sterling. The regular Enyaq IV will retail from £38,480. And those are your short shorts. There will be more next week. Our final two stories are next, but first, a reminder that everything we do here at the channel is supported by people like you. We do our best to produce the highest quality videos we can, supported by our amazing Patreon patrons and YouTube members. We also make a little extra money on the side, producing content for other channels, and of course, from the ads that YouTube injects into our shows, which we have no control over. But the reality is that without your support, we'd not be able to do what we do today. I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but YouTube has really been punishing long-form creators in the last year, trying to put all of its metaphorical eggs in one basket in an attempt to beat TikTok with its Shorts product. That's resulted in us seeing income from YouTube ad revenue dramatically fall. This month, it is about 1/2 to 1/3 of what it used to be. And last week, we had to sign a new partner agreement that will likely reduce our monthly income further. And I do say had to sign because if we didn't sign it, we would have lost all ability to earn anything on the platform. I know there are plenty of folks out there who think that we're begging when we ask for your support and believe we can do all of this with a mobile phone in our spare time. But making content takes time and money. And we currently have 2 full-time members of staff, 1 part-time member of staff, and of course, me as well. Without continued support, we won't be able to continue to do what we do. So please, if you do want to see us stick around, please consider chipping in from just $1 a month over on Patreon. And if you can't support us financially, please just consider subscribing. We know many of you aren't, and some of you who were once subscribed appear to have been unsubscribed automatically. It's a problem that's affecting many YouTubers right now, so please check. Thanks. We all know that the secret to seeing large volumes of electric vehicles rolling off the production line is ensuring that the economies of scale that can come into play make them affordable. That in turn means making sure that automakers have in-house battery supply chains where possible, which is why most automakers are now pairing up with battery specialists. Not so long ago, Ford announced a new partnership with CATL that would see the two build a battery production facility in the US. But Commonwealth of Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin has said no to offering any subsidies for said project, effectively making it not likely to happen. His reasoning, at least publicly, is that CATL is a Chinese company and he says he doesn't want Chinese-owned companies receiving money from his state or even operating in the state. But given his cabinet involves former fossil fuel lobbyist Andrew Wheeler, the very same guy who used to run the EPA under President Trump, well, yes. And finally, while it's easy to think about electric cars as being a primary electrification path in much of the world, the reality is that in many places electric bicycles and electric motorcycles are more practical, especially in markets where two-wheelers are more culturally acceptable. Which is why in parts of Africa, for example, we're seeing a surge in electric motorcycle use as companies like Rome bring affordable models to market. But in Kenya's capital of Nairobi, we're seeing another motorcycle brand join Rome on the road, EcoBoba. It's in the early stages of testing an all-electric motorcycle taxi service that uses battery swap stations to give riders a quick and easy way to recharge. Kenya's power grid is already powered by 95% renewable energy, so this really is a no-brainer to make the switch for riders, especially with battery swaps costing less than 1/2 of the cost of a tank of fuel. I mean, test riders already have great things to say about it. And on that note, we are done for the day. Before I go, though, I'd like to give a huge thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They've been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make that switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you do become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to electricauto.org. And of course, thanks to EnergySage for sponsoring today's show. You can follow the link below to find out how easy it is to get verified, trustworthy solar experts helping you make that step towards energy self-sufficiency, either by installing solar panels on the roof of your home or generating solar energy through help from a local community solar project. Don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell for this channel and our second channel, Transport Evolved Take 2. And in addition to becoming a Patreon supporter or YouTube channel member, you can tip us through Ko-fi or check out our cool swag store. Or if you would like, you can also book us as a consulting session for your business, community group, or in fact, your next EV purchase. As long as everything is okay, we will be back next week with another roundup show. But in the meantime, please remember we publish content every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, plus our Sunday musings and garden updates on Take 2. Although, as a side note, we are no longer publishing those on Patreon following significant complaints. Whatever you enjoy next, I hope your weekend is a great one. And as always, keep evolving.